Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The payments industry has faced a number of massive changes and challenges in the last several years. As the pace of digital transformation continues to accelerate, payment providers are continuously seeking new ways to create faster, easier, and cheaper worldwide payment tools. We're joined today by Nikolett Ioannidis, Head of Operations at Payabl, to introduce our next panelists. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. First, I would like to ask you, each and every one of you, to introduce yourself to each other as well and to the audience, and to say a little bit about the company you represent. So, whoever wishes to start?
Maybe I can start.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Saykova. I'm part of Paysafe group. I work for our digital wallets division, head of Payouts, and I also recently moved to our prepaid and issuing team, leading the product team on that. Paysafe, for those of you who are not aware, are a payments company. We process payments globally. We offer digital wallets, card acquiring, e-cash, all over the world. So over to you.
Raphael?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me, yeah?
Yes.
I'm Raphael Tetro. I'm SVP Merchant Services, dealing with the financial sector myself. I've been 11 years in the company. And just a little bit about Nuvei. Nuvei is a payment service provider. We're an acquirer. We're also offering over 550 different payment methods worldwide. And basically, we're dealing mostly with merchants from the financial services sector.
Thank you. Alex?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Orechoff. I'm head of vertical growth for financial services for Worldpay by FIS. We're very similar to Nuvei in that respect, is that we do gateway acquiring as well as disbursements for a variety of financial services companies, including CFD and FX traders, like many of you here. We're in a variety of countries globally, as well as settle in almost 100 currencies. So.
Hello, my name is Justinas Badaras. I'm the head of sales at Bankera, and Bankera is an EMI, electronic money institution in Lithuania. Essentially what we do is simple. We open payment accounts and we solely focus on digital companies, so Forex, gaming, crypto, fintech companies. Based in Lithuania, happy to be on this panel.
Cool. My name is Callum Chamberlain. I'm the head of trading at TrueLayer. For those of you that don't know, TrueLayer is one of Europe's largest open banking networks. So we offer essentially two services: real-time payments over the open banking network and real-time data flows of account information. And similar to yourself, we're also a regulated EMI.
Thank you very much for the intro. And today, as you all know, we will be discussing the changing in the payment industry, a very relevant topic. As you all know, colleagues in the industry, there are massive changes in the last several years. So my first question is gonna be like an open question. You, as a payment service provider, be an acquirer or open banking provider or EMI, what payment solutions businesses and merchants need so they can maintain their competitive edge? Whoever wish to start first?
Well, happy to start.
Yes, Alex.
So with this, I like to think about it in a couple different buckets. One is that you want to make sure you have a variety of solutions that fit the different local needs and payment habits of the countries that you're in. So it doesn't, US will have Visa, MasterCard, Amex, but that's not necessarily the case or the habits in a lot of different countries. The other thing that you want to think about and how technology is moving is how it's not just the options, it's about the speed to receive your money and pay it out. That means faster settlements, both for a merchant, but also for the clients themselves.
Thank you very much.
I think the perspective... Sorry,
yes, Colum, yes.
I think the perspective that I would take is that ultimately everything is driven by the customer experience, particularly from a trading perspective. So what that means is, from a payments perspective, I suppose, is that you need instant settlement, instant payouts, and instantaneous customer experience, but you also need to abstract away a lot of the manual labor input that goes into setting up an account so that the payments experience, the onboarding experience becomes a seamless end-to-end process. And I think that's a lot of what we're trying to achieve as a company, is enabling that seamless customer experience from the very first instance to making that initial deposit.
Thank you very much. Maria, you also wanted to say?
Yes, if I can also add, what's important is when you're choosing your partner, you're actually choosing somebody that will help your business grow, not only through solutions, but also through counsel. We offer our merchants, for example, compliance assistance. When they want to grow in new markets, we can help them understand the markets better and also help them with legal counsel. They are often not sure what is the best way to approach a market, what are the best solutions for them for this specific market. So the right partner would need to support you in that process as well. So on top of the onboarding and experience, it's also the service. Now for businesses like ours, where we offer digital wallets as well, it's also about the customer service. So providing the best customer service when your clients, who are also our clients, call and they have an issue, and you need to be able to immediately get assistance in that.
Thank you very much. I would also like to add regarding the user experience that it's very important to consider when you provide services, because most of the merchants, they think that the more payment solutions you are providing to your clients, the more competitive you are. However, sometimes it can cause more harm than good, because imagine the client goes and they need to scroll down with all the solutions. So it's also important for the clients, merchants, to choose the most competitive markets that they want and provide the necessary solutions.
I'll just add to it, and
Yeah.
I think it's a very good point. It's important to mention that any payment provider that is offering multiple payment methods, and I agree, there's no point of offering 100 plus payment methods to a country where some of these payment methods are just not supported. So it's super important to make sure that based on IP or based on the country parameter that the merchant sent to the payment provider, that only the relevant payment methods will be presented, so users will just not be confused by multiple payment methods.
Exactly. And my next question is, when we are talking about the list of payment solutions, is how did the 2021 payment trends look to you, and what are the solutions that you think we should look out to in 2022? What are the most boosting payment trends that everyone is wishing to have, or it's now in the trend? Yes?
Well, naturally, and I might steal Callum's thunder a little bit, but open banking is probably one of the bigger items.
It is.
It's about, like, in general, and if we bring it up like to a broader stroke, it's all about how do we make something as frictionless as possible. We have a lot of new regulations coming in that make it a little bit more difficult for new investors, which are flooding into this market right now, to try out something that is quite foreign. We've seen this in the crypto space as well at Worldpay. And it's a matter of, okay, how do you make that process as easy as humanly possible, but also make sure that disbursements are as easy as possible into the account preferences that investors have, because that enables a lot of trust in the trading experience that is being offered by companies that people might not be as familiar with. In addition, you want to think about it as how do you make sure, like, especially from a payment perspective, is that we're in an environment where liquidity is tough. So what we need to think about is how do we make sure that we reduce, like, settlement times for merchants? How do we, like, enable, how do we make the liquidity and treasury work for our clients and therefore the investors that are going into the companies that we're working with?
Thank you very much. Okay. Maybe also a feedback from other acquirers, such as Maria or Raphael. What do you say that it's more trending payment solutions?
So open banking definitely is growing in popularity. I think wallets like Google Pay, Apple Pay, something that we see that is growing in terms of adoption. I think also it's very important to implement a pay with crypto option because many merchants sees it as a way to bypass some of the restrictions that you have from the standard card schemes, Visa and MasterCard. So I really think that pay with crypto is a very important payment method to have.
Thank you very much.
Also, to add to open banking, on the open banking topic, what we've seen for 2022 is the emerging embedded solutions. So we have recently launched our partnership with Binance, where we offer them an embedded finance solution. What this means is we white labeled our wallet. We give them our license so they can operate in countries where they don't have a license. So this, it's not like we're the only ones. So we've definitely seen this trend, and more non-payment apps have the payment experience built within. So the customer doesn't really need to leave the app of the merchant. The experience is really smooth, and this also gives the opportunity for companies to expand and to reach new markets where normally they wouldn't go.
Thank you very much.
To add on that, it's like you're 100% right. It's not necessarily about payments anymore. It's about the holistic experience that your investor is experiencing, and that deals with embedded finance, that deals with payments, that deals with disbursements, as well as a variety of other things that need to plug in this ecosystem. One of us talked about choosing the right partners, and that's really what, like, to have speed in the market and innovate quickly, you want to make sure that you have that ecosystem partners that can get it done as quickly as possible within the regulatory guidelines that exist. So you're not explaining yourself in court later on.
And what do you think about the buy now, pay later solution? Because I also experienced is more sought from our merchants. Yeah?
Nikolett, I will come back to buy now, pay later
of course.
Afterwards, okay?
Yes.
But first you asked about what was 2021 and 2022 like. So from the perspective of the EMIs, I think 2021 was a breakthrough year. The volumes grew massively. If you check the statistics from the Bank of Lithuania, which has the largest number of EMI licenses, so the volumes there grew in quadruple numbers. So it was a really good year, and it was, spurred by a couple of factors. So first of all, COVID, everybody moved to the digital world. Then it was Brexit. So previously, companies that had accounts with a UK company, they moved to Europe. And yeah, I think from our perspective, it was really a good year. And in 2022, aside from open banking, embedded finance, these are very hot topics, but I think one more not to be forgotten is instant payments, real-time payments. It's becoming mainstream, and Centralink now processes around half of transactions instantly. So European-wide, in 2019, the number of instant transactions was 1% or 0%, it was non-existent. Now it's above 10%. So, and the threshold of the amount that you can transfer instantly is now higher in SEPA, from 15K up to 100K. So we're really moving forward towards instant payments. And what's better, combined with open banking, it gives birth to very exciting products such as account-to-account payments, which is, it's not maybe a good thing to the cards market, but generally it's a good thing to the consumers, cheap and fast settlement method. Yeah, buy now, pay later, it's a hot topic. I'm not an expert in that. I know there's been some talks about, lack of regulation of it, and that clients and, merchants, they take up credit, and, it may pile up on top, but I'll let my colleagues.
Maybe Colum can later tell us more challenges about the open banking solution. Thank you very much.
Sorry, is that a question to me about open
banking? If yes, why not?
I'll give a very quick, I'm sure we probably need to move on, but I think from TrueLayer's perspective, we process about 50% of the open banking traffic in the UK, so we have a quite good perspective on how the use of open banking is evolving. I'd say that we are like 30% of the way through the adoption curve, where we've had the first kind of innovative brands take on the solution maybe 2 years ago, and we're now starting to see the big brands come on board and actually adopt open banking, not just as a payment solution, but as the recommended payment solution to end users. So in that sense, it's been a good year.
Thank you very much. And since the open banking is like a new thriving trend, as we all experience, could you please tell us so our merchants can know what are the biggest challenges that they need to pay attention when they are using open banking?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first of all, it's about educating your users. So we work very closely with our clients to make sure that the payment flow is correct, that the user experience is correct, because ultimately if the solution isn't integrated correctly, if the UX isn't designed correctly, open banking won't get adopted. But when it does, we see adoption rates as, from a share of checkout perspective, in excess of 40%. I think the other challenge is the local nuances for payment types and different regulations. So yet you don't have a global open banking provider. But I think in the next few years, I think we'll solve that challenge and you'll see more M&A and more international open banking players.
Thank you very much. It's very valid when you mentioned that educating merchants, because based on my experience as well, because we also provide open banking solutions, and this is the hardest to educate the merchants so they understand if the product matching their needs. Sometimes they don't understand the difference between the different notifications, the pending notification, credit notification. They don't understand the risk measures. So it's very important. I think this is the biggest challenge, because everyone wants fast payments immediately and they don't want to wait until the money is actually settled. So that's based on my experience. This is when the questions are rising from the merchant.
The pending status.
Exactly, because the first notification is when the transaction was successful, then the next credit notification when the money is settling. But Forex, everyone, they want fast payment, so sometimes they don't want to wait for the credit notification. Is it also with you facing the same issues?
I really think it's merchant by merchant. So it depends how they implement the solution. For instance, we are a regulated EMI, so that we actually have insight into the flow of funds. So if a merchant is using that solution, it certainly makes it easier for us to, I suppose, manage the user experience end to end. But again, it's just about making sure that it's not so much about educating the merchant, because the merchant knows what they're trying to achieve most of the time. It's really about most of the time.
Yes.
I think that the more challenging thing is making sure that the merchant educates their end user in a way that is compelling.
In the end, it brings up a very good point, is that with any payment solution or any onboarding experience, it can actually, you have to think about how it fits the customer and target audience that you're going for. If you have a mismatch, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. Like open banking can be great for a lot of providers. It can be terrible if it's put in the wrong way, with the wrong education, and same with anything else. So like with us, we can see a large variety of average transaction values that our various CFD and FX brokerages have for their clients, and it's largely differentiated by how do they present things in what order.
So you're saying it's our obligation as a payment service provider to make sure that our merchants can educate their clients? You believe?
It's more of like, how do you become a trusted partner to evaluate and evolve their solution according to what customer they're looking for, as well as what they're aiming to achieve.
I think touching on this topic, I think it's very important also for merchants, brokers out there, to actually mention the limits for each and every method.
Yes.
So, for example, with cards, and we discussed open banking and banking as a solution. So Kayla mentioned that the capping, I think, of 100K per deposit. So if this is rightly mentioned and presented to the end users, then this might be the preferred payment method for a specific trader to make a deposit in. So sometimes us, the payment providers in this panel, we don't have full control on the UI. Yeah. So it's mostly the responsibility of the brokers. And this is why I think the role of head of payments in brokers or merchants out there is super important because we're speaking the same language. All of a sudden we have head of payments speaking to an acquirer or to a payment provider that basically understand the struggles, understand the same language, where a CEO, CFO that used to take control of payments didn't really understand.
Yeah.
And payment manager do understand what they need to do in order to make a frictionless process to their clients to make a deposit in.
Thank you very much. And now that we were talking about challenges, my next question is, you as a payment service provider, what are the main challenges that you are facing as a fintech service? Maria?
Yeah, maybe to continue the topic about education and about the experience of the end customer. In our case, in Paysafe, we offer the wallet as a payment method to our merchants. So their customer is also our customer. So what we need to ensure is our wallet is in good standing. There is frictionless onboarding, frictionless processes for our customers to do verification, to be able to deposit funds. And we not only have to educate our merchants how to manage their customers, but we also need to invest a lot of efforts into building the best customer experience. And what we notice is that our customers are getting more and more, they often do their research very well. They're educated even more than we expect them to. And there is social networks where they connect to each other. They discuss different wallets on the market. So they have a very good choice. And we need to absolutely live and breathe the customer experience and to invest a lot in understanding what their pain points are even before they hit them. So I would say this is one of the top challenges we have. And then how do we actually elicit their loyalty? What do we offer to them in return so they stay with us and respectively with our merchants rather than going to another client? And that's all about focusing on adding value to them. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Raphael, since we all know Nuvei is in the business for a very long time and you provide many services, we still would like to know what challenges you are facing.
So I have to say that similar to the audience here, which is mostly comprised of brokers, I think one of the biggest challenges that we face as payment providers is also dealing with regulations. Not just with our regulations as a payment provider, is also dealing with our merchants' regulations. So they have changes with their regulators and we need to be there to support them, to know where to restrict unfortunately certain markets. So I think this is the biggest challenge that we have on top of our requirements with regulators, where we are regulated, or with the card schemes, Visa and MasterCard. So I think this is the biggest hurdle that we're facing with and keeping up with all the changes.
Thank you very much. I can relate to you when it comes to regulations. Alex?
Honestly, it's the same exact answer.
Right?
Regulation is tough, and it's a lot. I feel for a lot of merchants because it's a lot of jumping through hoops. But in the end, one of the things that we try to do is figure out what are we going to try to make this process easier? How are we going to offer the flexibility to solve these problems? And that's kind of like it's a challenging thing. It's hard to tell people is like, hey, sorry, it's going to take a little bit, or we need this extra paperwork, but it's worth it in the end.
Thank you very much. Justinas?
Yes, so I agree with my colleagues. On one side is AML, on another side is the customer. And for us, it's the hardest, especially to the sales side people, is matching those expectations. So a client comes to you expecting to be onboarded in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, and our AML, we have to adhere to the regulation, and that is the tough part, being in the middle of it. So we try to build the expectations, with the client that, they're usually high-risk clients, gaming, forex clients. So they themselves have clients, and this is going to take a while. So matching expectations in terms of onboarding is a hurdle for us. A second challenge is very physical. So this is finding the right personnel, that would in the market. The market grew actually pretty much from zero in a few years to a big market right now, and with the birth of remote work, so salaries got high. Finding personnel got really tough. So that's our very simple but actual challenge that we're facing. Day-to-day operations, correspondent banks, finding them working with clients such as ourselves is also not tough, because banks, after going through de-risking a few years ago, they don't want to jump right back in, working with gaming clients or forex clients. Yeah, but this is something that we're managing, and yeah.
Thank you very much. Callum, you mentioned before your challenges, but maybe you wish to add more?
Yeah, I think I mentioned, I suppose, the macro challenges for open banking, which is building out that global network. I think specific to trading, the challenges that we're having are around education of the merchant base, because a lot of them have legacy payment providers, 20 plus payment providers, and we're coming in with what we believe is a fundamentally new way to pay, but we're dealing with companies that already have 20 other payment methods, whereas in crypto it's maybe easier because you have companies that don't have that same legacy infrastructure. So I think for us the critical challenge in the trading space is explaining the fundamental benefit of open banking and getting that to resonate with our audience. I think that is an ongoing process.
Thank you very much. And now that we were talking about the regulation changes, I would like to ask your review on the PSD2 regulation, if it affected your company negatively or positively. And also, it's later on mainly for the acquirers, because I also received questions before when I was doing webinars for open banking, if the open banking solutions and the PSD2 is cannibalizing the card processing. This is exactly the question I received, and I actually liked it. So,
I'll be happy to start.
Okay.
So, first of all, in regards to the positive side and negative sides of PSD2, so in terms of the positive side, we're definitely seeing in Europe lower fraud ratio, which is, I think, super for all stakeholders, whether it's us as the acquirers, merchants, cardholders, so everybody win and benefits from it. And on the negative side is for transaction which are not frictionless, for transaction where do have this extra layer of authentication. So this makes the checkout process to be a little bit more challenging, with one more step in the middle, where I think with time users will be more adopted to it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, whether open banking is cannibalizing card processing, well, of course. Damn you guys. But,
yes, thank you very much.
But it does, because at the end of the day, and we do understand it, merchants are looking to have some cost saving around that. So if you have card processing which costs X amount and it's a percentage based, and you have something which is a very fixed small transaction fee, then obviously the preferred method of merchants will be to offer that. So yes, definitely yes. But again, at the end of the day, it's something which is reasonable.
It is what it is. Thank you very much. Alex, you would like to add?
No, again, we're seeing the same things on our end. I guess for me, in the end, while going, especially after the open banking and card processing side of the thing, is yes, it's still early adoption. Yes, it definitely makes sense from a cost perspective for merchants, but in the end, we're talking about a huge shift in behaviors, and it's not going to be, it's not even in every country. Open banking still relatively new in the US, for instance, in terms of they don't even have a regulatory regime about it. So we can't expect card processing to be replaced or in a material manner. And that's just assuming that every generation is going to switch. I certainly know people who are still paying by cash, which mind boggles me. But the key is always thinking about what is that mix and what's that flexibility you're offering, so that you can reach the right audiences or the right mix of audiences to maximize your business.
Thank you very much.
Actually, you would be surprised how many people pay by cash. That's why we have the e-cash solution. And yeah, they are preferring it.
In LATAM,
It's big, yeah. I just wanted to add to how customers see the additional challenges that were imposed on card payments. I would say that we being also an issuer, we've received requests from our end customers. Why don't you have 3DS on your card yet? Like, when are you going to have it? So they actually need more security. They feel safer when they know that somebody has their card details safe and they can process payments freely now. So this additional friction that's created, I would say they would get used to it, and it actually makes them more confident spending online.
I think in certain countries, for example, the UK, people are actually expecting to have a 3D Secure pop-up, their issuer presented and them entering a PIN code or fingerprint or whatever it might be. They're actually surprised if they don't see it. So.
Yeah, I remember, so I used to live in Dubai, and like a lot of these measures have been live for quite some time. I remember how annoying it was to have to like fumble to find that little code, but now it's something that I expect. So it just takes time.
Thank you very much. Colin?
I mean, I guess we wouldn't be in existence as a company without that regulation, right? So you'd guess that I would be in favor of it. But I mean, our explicit mission as a company is to kill cards. So I might as well just be honest about that. But if you think about that from the consumer's perspective, you know, that can potentially be a very positive thing, because ultimately cards are not a digitally native solution, right? And if you can remove that aspect, that volume from the process, in terms of the card being the intermediary, in a digital world, the card isn't exactly a very good intermediary. So if you can connect your trading app to someone's bank account directly and enable that process and a seamless customer journey as a result, I mean, I think that's why we're seeing the demand, and I think that's why the regulation has been proven out to be effective in that sense.
Thank you very much.
Nikolett,
yes,
one tiny comment in regards to open banking and cannibalizing card processing. I think
you like that question.
I
too,
love
right?
that question. So I think that what you can see here also on stage is that acquirers, Paysafe, Nuvei, and Worldpay are actually entering that field as well, because you understand that this is where the market is going.
Yes.
Also with crypto, so you have to be there. You don't want to be considered as a legacy provider that only offer or sticks to card. So,
well, you have to adjust. You have to adjust with the trends. Yes. So thank you very much. And we talked about the challenges and new payment trends. And I would like you to share with the audience and also with each other, what do you have in the pipeline for this year to add to your solutions and to provide more solutions to the e-commerce business? Maria?
Yeah, definitely we'll continue improving our embedded finance product. So it's not really relating to brokers and traders, because you have your own licenses, so you don't need the embedded finance. But definitely, crypto merchants show a great interest in that solution. So we've launched with a few merchants. We want to see where we can improve that, where we can take the product and go big with it. So definitely that would be in our pipeline. Then the other one is payouts. So we do have existing payouts functionality. There is a lot more to do there, and our merchants are speaking to us. They're saying, well, you're great in accepting payments. We also want to use you for payouts. So this is also the next product we are focusing on. And on the consumer side, definitely investing more on bringing that delightful experience, as we would like to say, because for us to be able to promote our digital wallet to merchants, we need to actually be the preferred choice for consumers as well.
Thank you very much. Raphael?
Yeah, of course. So I think we will be focusing on certain areas this year. So payouts is obviously something that is very big. we're considered to be one of the largest acquirers, if not the largest acquirer for card payouts today for certain verticals, FX, gaming, insurance, etc., etc. So making sure that MasterCard, MoneySend, Visa Direct are the default, the fastest way of users to receive, or cardholders to receive funds back to their card. And certain areas which we are also expanding and putting a lot of emphasis on is areas like scheme tokenization. So basically, a merchant which come to us and wants to process a card then can use that very same card or that very same token with other acquirers as well. So I think it's putting the force in the hands of the merchants, which is something which is very important. And also we're building 3D Secure on top of Apple Pay. So we want merchants to have Apple Pay, which is a very secure method to begin with, but also to add the layer of 3D Secure on top of it to make sure that they are also chargeback protected from fraud.
Thank you very much. Alex?
Yeah, no, very, very similar in a lot of respects. So obviously, it's like payouts is number one. Like I think everyone's making sure that we have the best solutions on disbursements. Another one that we're working on is our own open banking products, as well as our own embedded finance products, so that we can move on from just being the payment solution, but also more of this hub for assisting our clients manage money, so they don't have to think about it.
Thank you. Justinas?
Yeah, so this year we launched our app. We're going to introduce mobile payments, but actually, for business customers, what is important is we are kind of focusing on custom projects this year. So we have several things lined up in the pipeline. First of all is our card issuing. So we are a Visa Direct card issuer, principal license holders. So there are already 2 companies we're starting issuing cards through us. Another one is our white label payment solutions. So essentially, we're offering to use our infrastructure, either become an agent or an operator and launch your own payments platform. And the third custom type of project is to companies, for example, gaming, FX companies, crypto companies. We offer to implement virtual IBANs on their platform, so that, for example, a crypto exchange can allow their users to have IBANs directly on the platform. We already have it implemented, and we see quite a lot of interest in custom projects this year.
Thank you very much. Kolum?
Yeah, there's 2 broad areas that we're focused on in terms of product development this year. I mean, I think we've spoken a lot about payments, but I think one aspect of open banking that's maybe underappreciated is data. So we can get the data API to aggregate account information, transaction information, and what we're going to be building on top of that is what we call onboard and pay, which is a solution that uses that data to automate a customer onboarding process, so that we can remove any manual upload of documents or data entry from the sign up and onboarding process. The other broad area that we're focused on is VRP. That's variable recurring payments. So currently the open banking payment flow is 4 or 5 screens in which a user has to authenticate a payment, moving from your app into a banking app and back again. We are going to essentially bring that down to a 1 or 2 screen process and make payments available natively within your app, so that you can do essentially a one-click pay using open banking within the trading app.
Very interesting. Is it something that also other open banking providers are providing, or you will be the first?
So firstly, this is just in the UK, where they've actually mandated this legislation, but we expect Europe to follow. We're the first provider to launch it in the UK, and yesterday we announced a partnership with Curve to actually roll this out for all of their customers in the UK.
Thank you very much. And as you all know, we are all colleagues from the same industry, and we more or less provide the same solutions, but yet I would like to ask you to tell the audience why, what the difference your services make to clients, why they should choose you. A little bit marketing, a little bit sales. Maria?
Okay, I would say the biggest competitive advantage we have as a company is that we, over the years, we've built the full suite of services that we can offer a variety of merchants. We've built some, we've acquired some companies that provide these, but we have card acquiring, we have digital wallets, e-cash, issuing, and that's all across different markets. So we operate in high-risk verticals, including Forex and crypto, so I would say this is one of the competitive advantages we have, definitely. And then the second one would be, going back to what I said in the beginning of our conversation, is this expertise of our risk teams, our compliance and fraud teams, because we believe that the most important thing for a business is to find a partner that can guide them through, not only through their integration, but also to launching in new markets and expanding their business. So I would say that would be...
I agree. Thank you. Raphael?
Yeah, so I think there are three main components. One is our ability to be agnostic and act also as a payment orchestrator layer. So some of the colleagues here on the stage, so if a merchant, for example, come to us and say, listen, I also want to open a merchant account with Worldpay, or I want to use Netel or Skrill. So we consider them as competitors, obviously, but also as partners. So basically, we can route under the very same technical integration traffic to some of our competitors, because we do understand that merchants do not want to put all eggs under one basket.
Yeah.
So this is one component. Secondly, I think our variety of around 550 different payment methods, also allowing merchants to do one integration, one agreement, and receive many of these, and obviously not to present all of them in one country. And I think also our ability to offer local acquiring solutions in multiple locations. So most of the merchants here are maybe registered in Europe, but they have also operations in LATAM, Asia, etc., etc. So we want to make sure that we offer local merchant accounts, not just in Europe doing cross-border, but also locally.
Thank you very much. Alex?
Yeah, no, so I would definitely start off with the expertise environment. We have a team that is specialized in this space, in CFD and FX and financial services in general. So we understand a lot of the challenges that exist. We understand the legal environment. We understand the compliance environment. And that makes us well suited to not only help our various clients in this case, but also really understand that we as a payments provider are sticking to this market, where a lot of other payments providers will be very hesitant to deal with the high risk, scary aspects of this, or be very hesitant to go after the schemes to enable options that people would otherwise not fight for. That's definitely what you'd see from our team. Similarly, we have a global footprint that is not just payments, it's beyond that. We're backed by FIS, which has a lot of embedded finance solutions. It has a lot of other treasury solutions that are out there. So what's great about working with us is that it's a partner that thinks about not just your customer-facing payments, but also what do you do with it afterwards? How do you create an overall hub to facilitate running your business? So these are phenomenal aspects. And then finally, we take pride in offering a lot of faster settlements for merchant settlement. So it's not the typical T+7 that you'll often see T+3 or less with us. So it does help with liquidity.
Thank you very much. Justinas?
Okay, so first of all, why us is we have a very clear focus of the clients that we work with. So we work, with gaming, crypto, FX clients, fintechs, and our AML teams, our sales teams, we are divided, not just a general team, but we're divided by industry. So we know the difference between licenses, what those companies require. Yeah, so whenever a company comes to us, they're in the hands of a person that knows what they're doing. Second of all, we focus on longevity as opposed to the speed of onboarding, especially with the Bank of Lithuania being a strict supervisor. Last year, I think they revoked free licenses and issued 10 or so fines. Yeah, so we take the approach, better be slightly slower in onboarding, better be have a benchmark slightly higher up in transaction monitoring, but be better in terms of, not stopping the operations and not getting a fine from the Bank of Lithuania. And finally, what is important to businesses is we are pretty much able to do most of the payment projects that a company wants to do, issue cards, white label payments. We don't do open banking, but I mean, the rest of our projects, if the company wants to talk about, we can usually discuss it.
Thank you very much. Kolum, why TrueLayer?
Yeah, so as you can imagine in my job, I get asked this question quite a lot. But essentially, we are an open banking only company. But as you can see from the panel today, this is a pretty hot topic. And in the next 5 years, we expect open banking to become the de facto payment method. So I guess the question is, why TrueLayer for open banking? And that's for two reasons. One, because we're going to be hopefully the first company, open banking company, to build out a global open banking network. So we've got coverage in the UK, 95% coverage in Europe right now, but we're launching in Brazil and the US next year for open banking. And then in addition to the network coverage for open banking, we're building value-added products on top of that network, like VRP, like onboard and pay, that will add value, but also ROI beyond just payments.
Thank you very much. And I believe our time is up. So I would like to thank all of you to participate in this chat. I really enjoyed your feedback. Thank you very much. And it was really an honor to have this panel with such professional colleagues in this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.